So this video is going to be a serious one. You know, I hear all the time and see all the time posts like, if this gets so many notes then I won't commit suicide by said day, and things like that. I get messages all the time saying, oh, this is my last night, and so on and so on, you know. I know people who've tried to commit suicide, and I'm not going to say I haven't tried many times either. You know, the stigma attached to suicide is that it's so selfish, that it's so wrong to commit suicide because you're just being the most selfish person in the world. That is not true. It really isn't. You're not being selfish. Do you have any idea how much it takes to get to the point of considering suicide? How much does it take to get there? It's not that you're being selfish. So you've gone for so long pretending and lying and being somebody you're not. Like you're done. And you just want it all to end, and you don't care how that happens. You don't care. Because as long as it's over, everything is better. Because that's the only way to make things better. Or at least that's what your head is telling you. But that's not true. It really isn't. Because committing suicide really isn't going to change anything. It's going to make everything stop. You're right. Everything's going to go away. But the problem is going to stay there. I mean, if somebody's not bullying you, or if somebody's not saying things to you, they're just going to do it to somebody else. It's never going to change anything. No matter how many commit suicide, it's not going to change how people treat other people. The only thing that will change how people treat others is people. And if you're gone, nothing's going to change. I know I don't want to be here either. I mean, to everyone I'm a burden. I'm lazy, I'm dirty, I'm gross, I'm disgusting, I'm not a guy. Just to them I'm disgusting and lazy and a freak. And you know, to myself I think I'm the same thing. But after trying so many times, Where's my kitten? Anyway, after trying so many times, you know, I sort of realised that even though I think there aren't people who care, there are people who care. And even if you don't think there is, everybody who's touched your life in one way or another is going to be affected by you dying. You don't realise it. And that's fine, because at that moment you're not thinking about them. You're thinking of the one person you should always think of, but the one person you neglect to think of the most. And that's yourself. Thing is, people who commit suicide don't normally do it, you know, because they're thinking of others. The problem is that those who commit suicide usually think of others way too much, and that's their problem. They care what others say, they care what others think, they only want what others want for them. You know, and if others don't approve, they're angry, they're upset, and that's the problem. People who commit suicide are in that much pain because they care so much about what other people think. Not to mention the fact that they probably think it themselves as well. But there's a reason for that, because probably their whole life they've been told the same thing over and over and over. You know, that is not going to change. Not if you don't try. But the thing is, people who commit suicide, they're not being selfish. But for one time in their life, they're thinking about themselves. They want it to be done, they want everything to be over, and that's the only way they can think of to do it. And yeah, that may seem wrong to somebody who has no idea how it feels to be suicidal, or to have those thoughts. But sometimes, knowing that there's a way out is what keeps you going. And that's what I want to say. Because suicide may seem like the best idea, but it's not. Because you are the most important person in your life. And you need to realise that. You need to realise that nobody else matters. Like, who cares if your parents or whoever it is thinks you're lazy or you're stupid or you're, because you're not. They don't understand what depression is, especially like my stepmother. She doesn't understand. Like, I don't want to get up in the morning. I don't want to do anything. But I get up and I go to work and I work 65 to 70 hours a week. And I never complain. I never say anything. And I don't even want to get out of that bed. Why do you think I'm still in my room? She doesn't, nobody understands how hard it is to do simple things. But my point is, you need to be enough for you. Because it doesn't matter what others think, you need to start thinking of yourself. Because nobody else is going to do that for you. You're becoming an adult. And adults only have themselves. And nothing is wrong with that. To be honest, it is the best thing that can happen to you. I'm going to tell you why. And it's very simple. Because there's only you. Now you may find a lover eventually. Everybody does probably. But it's the best thing that can happen to you. Is only thinking of you. Because the moment you start caring about what everybody else says, that's the moment. That's the moment that you're going to change. Because you are enough for you. Nobody can tell you that you're not enough. Because you are. You are the reason you're still here. Right? So stay here. Be you. Because you're becoming older. You're an adult. You're all that you have. And nothing is wrong with that. Because when you tell yourself that you're not enough for yourself, that's just silly. That's ridiculous. Because you're the only thing that matters to you. That's all that should matter to you. Especially when you're feeling that way. You need to realize that, yeah, I'm feeling like this. But why am I feeling like this? Is it because of me? Or is it because of what I've heard other people say? You gotta think about it. And I'm gonna promise you that it's not because of you. I'll tell you that. Because it's gonna be for somebody else. Maybe the world is better off without you, but it is not. Because the world is you. That's all that matters in your world. Should be you. You and the people you care about. But if the people you care about don't care about you, and don't treat you the way you should be treated, then there's no reason to care about them. They're not part of your world. Your world does good for you. And you need to realize that this world is too big for all of us. And the moment you try to make that world smaller, it's not going to work. Your world only encompasses you. And as your family starts growing, you get a significant other. You get married, you have children, or your adult children, or whatever. You don't want children, you have cats like I have a cat. That's your world. Those people. And right now, in this moment, when you're thinking those things, your world need only be you. The world may be this big. This is the world. But this is not big. This is you. And this is all that matters, and this is all you need. You don't need the entire world. You don't need all those people. All you need to survive is you. That's it. Suicide isn't selfish. It's not stupid either. And thinking those things don't make you wrong. It makes you strong. Because considering killing yourself, how much have you gone through to get to that point? But you're still here. You've fought through it and you're still here. So keep going. Every day, just remember, I'm still here. I'm here. Despite everything this big world has thrown at me. I am not this. You're this. Each and every one of us is this. Just a little part in this big world. And think, if this big world consists of 4 billion or trillion people, 4 billion people, 7 billion people, something like that, and one little person commits suicide every day. 14 people, right? 14 people die from suicide. That world gets smaller every day. But we don't need that to happen. Because who cares if the world is this big? Your world is not this big, and you need to realize that. Your world is this. Your world is you. And until you are enough for yourself, you can't leave. You can't. Because nobody is more important to this world than you are. And I'm going to promise you that. Because this is your world. This is my world. Right now, this is my world. And I'm only this. This is my entire world. Is me, my kitten. That's it. That's my world. You know, nothing else is in my world. Out this window, there's a huge golf course, huge neighborhood, a lot of people. But they're not part of my world. You're part of my world. This is my world. And once you realize that this world is actually only this big, there's so much more you can do. And I promise you that it feels a lot better. You're so much more relieved. Because you're enough for you. And everybody else doesn't matter. They're not part of your world. They may be your friends or your family. That doesn't mean they're parts of your world. You know what I'm saying? You choose. That's all I'm saying. You choose. And if they're not good for you, then they're not part of your world. And you just need to realize that. Because your world is your world. And nothing and nobody can tell you that you're not good enough to live in your world. This isn't your world. This is not your world. This is your world. And it's yours. And nobody can tell you any differently. Nobody can say that you're not good enough for it. Because it's your world. You understand? It's yours. You just need to take charge of it. That's all.